Pixel 10 launch event. Let's talk about the announcements. Hi, welcome to ZGadgetReview. It was an event that was chock full of announcements, and I do it in quotation marks because we had a bunch of leaks pretty much told us everything that was coming to this event. So the way I'm going to do this video is first I'm going to talk about the event itself. I'm going to do a mini review of the event because it was interesting and different, and then I'm going to talk about what the announcements for the products were. So let's get started. Google this year went with a different type of format for their event announcement. It was actually hosted by Jimmy Fallon. They did some sort of hybrid talk show with announcement type of event, which in my opinion didn't go as smooth as it usually does with a regular announcement format. I kind of understand why Google did this, but at the same time, I think it could have been done much better. We have Jimmy Fallon introducing the whole thing and kind of making jokes and things like that to make it entertaining. It feels to me that they were going for more of a wide audience than just a tech audience as previous events have. The pacing was off, and it felt like Jimmy Fallon kind of got in the way of people doing the pitch that they're doing, because technically this is a infomercial of sorts for the products, right? Jimmy Fallon worked as the audience surrogate, where if you didn't know anything about Google products, you could technically use Jimmy Fallon as the person who doesn't know anything about Google products, and Google is telling this person, aka Jimmy Fallon, about how these products work and how to do the demos and things like that. Which again, I will say was a hit and miss. In some opportunities it did work. In other opportunities it just fell flat, because the people who work at Google who are doing the pitch of the products don't really have the skills to act with someone, because technically Jimmy Fallon there is playing the role of host, and these people are playing the role of pseudo guests telling us about things about the products. If you don't have the experience of doing shows like that and acting that way, then it feels flat. It feels like they're trying too hard to be engaging and nice and all that. My thing though is, if you haven't watched previous unveilings of Pixel products, what will compel you to watch this? Right? I personally didn't see Google rolling out a huge marketing thing saying Jimmy Fallon and hosting the next Google Pixel thing. I didn't see any billboards. I didn't see online advertisement. They did some posts on social media, but that's about it. So I feel that if Google was trying to catch the general audience, the general public, to come tune into this event as something different, something special, I think they should have gone with a full press corps out there, putting billboards out, Google Pixel 10 event hosted by Jimmy Fallon kind of things on the side of buses and things like that. So it would have created more of an event kind of feel. This to me, didn't work that way. Then we had the Jonas Brothers unveil a new music video. I mean, I know the Jonas Brothers have had sort of resurgence, but I'm not the audience for the Jonas Brothers. So let me know in the comment section if you enjoyed the Jonas Brothers portion of this presentation, which was really weird. We're supposed to believe that the Jonas Brothers shot a whole music video using a Pixel 10 Pro and using some of the features, the new camera features that the Pixel 10 Pro has to make that video. I don't know if Google knows this, but Apple has done this for years, where they have a cinematographer or some sort of artist who supposedly uses their camera to shoot these big elaborate scenes. And it's been proven time and time again that kind of marketing doesn't work, because people go and say, okay, you are lying to us, because look at all the rigging that this phone has behind it in order to achieve the shots that we're seeing on this presentation. So it feels like Google in a way also went back in time to copy what Apple used to do, and they don't do as much anymore because of that reason. Now they want us to believe that the Jonas Brothers shot this whole video on a Pixel 10, which sure, they probably did, but you have lighting and you have microphones and you have all the rigging that goes around that phone when it's getting used to shoot a professional music video. Come on, Google, let's not go back in time. Let's figure out a way to do this next year that feels more organic and not so fake. Then we have the girl from the podcast Call Me Daddy. I can't remember her name. She was in charge of showing the camera features. And that whole interaction, it was her interacting with this Google guy, the guy that's, I'm assuming, in charge of the cameras department, something like that within Google. And they had this really weird interaction where eventually she was going to take a picture of someone. So she ended up calling Jimmy Fallon to come out.
Jimmy, can you come back out here really quick for me? Yeah, Jimmy?
How you doing?
No, listen, I need you to give me full model. Get on the couch.
There you go.
And of course, you can see how awkward it felt where the Google guy, for like a third wheel between what Jimmy Fallon and this girl were doing. Of course, this is all pre-rehearsed.
I personally know how hard it is to train your boyfriend or your husband to get that perfect shot. And now Camera Coach can just train all the boys for us. Thanks, boys.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
That's where you see someone who is working at a corporate level trying to do a pitch of a product versus you have two people from the entertainment world interacting with each other. Adrian Lofton actually called out Apple on some of their BS. It's the first time that actually Google has come on a stage and actually pushed and prod Apple on a bunch of things.
Yeah. That at Pixel, we are confident in our product and in our brand. And we love everybody in the game, so we can say anyone's name we want on this stage.
That's what I'm talking about. All right. All right.
Of course, they talk about RCS, how they push Apple to adopt RCS to kind of eliminate that whole BS of blue bubbles, green bubbles stuff, and having downgraded communication with people who use Apple devices.
And so I'm going to ask you a technical question, but have you ever heard of RCS?
RCS, got everything else I knew about. No, I don't know RCS.
Okay, and that's okay. Most people don't. RCS stands for Rich Communication Services. You don't even need to remember that name.
Okay.
I would have a shameless plug to say check your phone and make sure RCS is on, because this is how it needs to work for both sides of this fence. But RCS simply means there's now one text standard for all. And what you should know is Android has been using RCS for many, many, many years. But Apple recently adopted it as well. And so what does that mean? It means that now when you're chatting with your iFriends, you can say goodbye to blurry photos and videos. You can react with all your cute emojis to the text messages. And finally, the group chat is for the whole group.
So we can stop talking about the green text versus the blue text?
Yes.
Or that?
Yes. And first of all, I'm going to
bubble?
say, personally, the green-blue bubble battle is silly and it's tired. And at Google, we're done with that conversation.
But also they talked about how much better their camera is and how much better the hardware is and all this stuff. And that is, to me, the first time that they've done it. It's a confidence that Google seems to finally have with the Pixel lineup that they didn't have before. I understand, again, what Google was trying to go for. They shouldn't do it again like this next year. And if you're going to do it like this, then I guess I need to hire actors to pretend to be Google employees. I think it cheapens the whole thing that Google's trying to go for, which is get people excited. If I had to rate it from 1 to 10, I will give it a 5. Let's talk about the products. Let's talk about some of the AI features coming to the Pixel 10 devices. And some of these are actually, in my opinion, for the first time ever, useful. These are actual AI features that you might actually use, unlike all the other things that have been coming along the way that most people don't use, like Art Creator and all this crap that really feels more like bloatware on a phone. So we have Magic Q. Magic Q was actually something that Jimmy Fallon was useful for at this event, which was a demo of him going through his text messages and the AI giving him answers right away for things that he needed. So they did the example of dinner. Where are we having dinner tonight? The reservation obviously was already done. The phone found the reservation and sent the information directly. So it shows right there on the phone. And all you have to do is press it if you want to use a recommendation that the phone is giving you. In this case, he gave him the restaurant name, and so he provided the restaurant name to the person asking the question. Another one was Alex Cooper asked him about a picture, and the phone immediately went and looked for the picture. This was a dog wearing a hat. And so he could go and press the button, took him to his picture album, and the first selection was the picture of the dog with the hat. Of course, it will be really interesting to test this out in real life to see if the Magic Cube might get confused with different images. Another really cool thing was, for example, going back to the restaurant thing was, hey, we need to move the restaurant reservation. And immediately Magic Cube gave him the phone number for the restaurant. So you can just press call instead of having to, go look for the name of the restaurant and look for the phone number and then make your phone call. Things like that to me are actually something that AI will be useful for. Camera Coach. This is what Alex Cooper came out on stage for to show off. And this is technically using AI to teach you how to take the best picture. So you get a subject, in this case, it was Jimmy Fallon, and you press the button for Camera Coach. And of course, the person has to be posed where they're going to be taking a picture and, if they're sitting down, if they're standing up, whatever, what the background is and all that. The phone will use AI to give you suggestions of pictures that you can take of this person. And then once you select the picture, the type of picture that you want to take, the composition that you want to make, then the camera will give you step-by-step instructions on how to achieve that image. I can see that being useful for people who like taking pictures all the time, influencers. I mean, I will say that probably most influencers already know the type of pictures they want to take and how they want to take them. But I guess people getting started in that kind of stuff will be a useful tool. The next one is editing images on Google Photos just by asking. The example was Jimmy Fallon and Alex Cooper had taken a picture before the event. And the picture was a little skewed, the lighting wasn't great. And so just by typing the directions to the phone of what she wanted, she was able to reframe the picture and change the lighting. And so, of course, this can save you a lot of time if you have ever had an image on your phone that you took and you're like, oh my God, this doesn't look as good as I wanted to. Then you go into it, and resize it and crop it. AI obviously can do all that for you and save you some time. Again, as I always say with AI though, then you're losing that skill, that learned skill of editing an image on your phone or on a computer, which it's not the best thing. It's good to have skills. Voice translate. This to me was the coolest. Okay, this actually was a very, very impressed by. Again, Jimmy Fallon being the guinea pig for these things was useful for these kind of things. Immediate voice translation on a phone call.
Voice translate, choose the language, and...
Call is translated by Google AI. In each speaker's voice, audio is not saved.
Hi, Karen. Can you hear me? Does this work?
Hola Karen, ¿puedes oírme? ¿Funciona esto?
What's up? Hello. I'm the crazy person listening to you in Spanish.
Okay, this is really cool. I can't believe how fast it's working.
Esto es realmente genial. No puedo creer lo rápido que está funcionando.
What AI is doing is copying the voice of the person who's talking and doing a translation with that voice. And it was keeping also the inflection of his voice and, the mannerisms that the people have when they speak on the phone. It'll be good to see how this works in real life. Google finally did it. Pixel is going to come with what they're calling Pixel Snap, otherwise known as MagSafe, where you can attach things. And the best thing is that any MagSafe accessory is going to be compatible with Google. Pixel Snap Charger for $39.99, Pixel Snap Charger with a stand for $69.99, then you have the Pixel Snap Ring Stand for $29.99, and then you have Pixel Snap cases. All this is going to be available on August 28th. All right, let's talk about the Pixel 10. The Pixel 10, as the leaks implied, is going to come with a triple camera array. It's going to be the first Pixel that is a non-pro version that is going to have 3 cameras in the back. So we're going to have a 10.8 megapixel 5x telephoto with 20x super res zoom. It's going to also have a 48 megapixel camera with a wide lens, improved image stabilization, and a 13 megapixel camera, as well as a 10.5 selfie camera. It's also going to have 10-bit HDR video by default. It's also going to have a 6.3-inch Actra display, which is supposed to be brighter, up to 3000 nits in brightness. It's going to have a 4970 milliamp hour battery, and it's going to support Qi 2 wireless charging. 12 gigs of RAM, and it's going to use the Tensor G5 chip. The Pixel 10 is going to have Gorilla Glass Victus 2, and it's going to be IP68 rating for dust and water resistance. The Pixel 10 starts at $799. That will be for the 128 gig version, and it's going to be available on August 28th. Now, the Tensor G5, this is the newest chip for Google this year, and it's coming this time from TSMC, no longer from Samsung, and this is their newest chip. It is built on a 3nm process node. It is going to have a CPU that is 34% faster. The TPU is up to 60% more powerful with a new Gemini Nano model that's responsible for fully on-device AI experiences at launch. This is supposed to be, of course, with AI in mind first. Now, the Pixel 10 Pro and the Pixel 10 Pro XL are pretty much the same device except for the size of the screen. The Pixel 10 Pro is going to be 6.3 inches and the Pixel 10 Pro XL is going to be 6.8 inches. Both phones are going to have 16 gigs of RAM. They're of course going to have the Google Tensor G5. The Pixel 10 Pro is going to have a 4870 milliamp hour battery. It's going to support 15 watt wireless Qi 2 charging. The Pixel Pro XL is going to have a 5200 milliamp hour battery. The Super Actual Display this year is going to be 10% brighter, supporting up to 3300 nits of brightness. Is going to have a 50 megapixel wide camera that can shoot smoother video thanks to the enhanced optical image and stabilization. It of course is going to have video boost. It is going to be able to shoot video at 8K. It's going to have a new image signal processor. It is going to have improved autofocus for the cameras. It's going to have an upgraded 5x telephoto lens with 100x ProRes zoom. They both are going to have a 48 megapixel ultra wide lens and a 48 megapixels 5x telephoto lens. Google of course is saying that this is going to be their best camera yet. Of course, it's going to have variable refresh rates of up to 120 Hz. The other difference between the Pixel 10 Pro and the Pixel 10 Pro XL is charging speeds. Pixel 10 Pro is going to support 30 watt fast charging, while the Pixel 10 Pro XL is going to support 45 watts. Both devices are going to support wireless Qi 2 charging, but the Pixel 10 Pro XL is going to offer 25 watts wireless charging via Qi 2.2 compatibility, which is supposed to be a first for a phone. The Pixel 10 Pro XL is also going to have better speakers than the other two devices. Possibly we're going to have a louder speaker with powerful bass. Pricing for the Pixel 10 Pro is $999. I get it from the 128 gig storage version, and then $1,199 for the Pixel 10 Pro XL for the 128 gig storage version. Both phones available on August 28th. Let's talk about that Pixel 10 Pro Fold. You can supposedly do folding on this phone of 10 plus years. It's going to be the first foldable phone that has an IP68 rating for dust and water protection. It's going to have the largest display on a phone. Google is saying that the hinge on this phone is twice as durable as the Pixel 9 Pro Fold because it's going to be a new gearless hinge. We're going to have the internal 8-inch Super Ultra Reflex display, said to be the largest on any phone. The outer screen is going to be a 6.4-inch actual display. Both of them should deliver up to 3000 nits of brightness. The Pixel 10 Pro Fold is going to have a 5015 milliamp hour battery. Is going to also support Qi 2 wireless charging and going to support 30 watt fast charging. Now the camera is pretty much going to be the same as what we have on the Pixel 10 Pro. Pricing starts at $1799 and it's actually going to be for the 256 gig version of the phone. There's no 128, and this will actually come out on October 9th, so you have to wait a couple of months. Pixel Watch 4 is going to continue its round build that it's had. This time supposedly the screen is going to be 10% larger. It is going to be brighter, up to 3000 nits of brightness. Supposedly it can be powered for up to 40 hours on a single charge. Another new feature to the watch is satellite communication. So if you are out of range of Wi-Fi or anything like that, you can use a satellite to call emergency services. We'll be able to detect if you have any issues with your heart rate. So if, for example, if your heart stops suddenly, the watch will automatically call emergency services. Brand new is going to be an AI-based fitness coach, which is going to be available if you are a Fitbit premium subscriber. The watch is going to be available on October 9th as well, and you're going to have two versions of this. It's going to be the 41mm starting at $349, while the 45mm is starting at $399. And we have the Pixel Buds Pro 2. They are launching a new color, and that is going to be the Moonstone color, which is going to be also available on August 28th for $229. It is going to get some new features that it didn't have before. It's going to have adaptive audio. It's going to have loud noise protection. You'll be able to answer calls and texts with a nod. And of course, you can talk with Gemini Live in noisy environments. The actual announcement of new Pixel Buds was the Pixel Buds 2a, and this is the cheaper version of the Pixel Buds. It's going to come with active noise cancelling, which they say is 1.5 times more than the original Pixel Buds Pro. The earbuds are going to be IP54 rated for sweat and water resistance. The Pixel Buds 2a are going to be available on October 9th, and they cost $129. Now, while the event wasn't the greatest, the reveals were pretty good. I am excited again for once with the Pixel device to try out some of these AI features that they are included on this phone. Finally, we are going to get to see some of these things that are supposed to actually be useful, unlike previous features. Clearly, we're starting to see a distinction now with the Pixel Pro XL having things that the Pixel Pro itself doesn't have. So they're trying to actually make it a more of a premium phone than it was last year since they first introduced it. So I'm expecting next year's Pixel Pro 11 XL to have more features. But of course, hardware-wise, I think they're moving into the XL being a more of a premium device than last year. Of course, we know that the Pixel 9 Pro will be getting some of these features as well. I don't know which ones or when, but you know they're going to be getting them at some point. What did you think about Pixel's event? Did the fact that Jimmy Fallon was around get you excited? Did you feel that it was kind of weird pacing? Let me know in the comment section. What do you think about the products that were announced? Are you excited for the Pixel 10 Pro, Pixel 10 Pro XL, and all these other things? Again, let me know in the comment section. That is it for me. Go ahead and subscribe, give us a thumbs up, it really helps the channel. Go ahead and hit that bell so you can be alerted every time we have new videos. And thank you very much for watching.